Okay, so before we get going here, I guess for context, Joel and I are in the very midst of negotiations between merging Gott Energy and Ridgeline Roofing. So we thought it would be fun, and we were actually planning to meet today and not record a podcast, but the idea here is we're just going to have a conversation, the conversation we would have had about some of our concerns and everything upcoming about the merger. So let's start talking about this.
What does success look like to me? What am I driving towards? And those things are very personal. It's amazing what you can accomplish when there's trust in the room. And when you remove that trust, it's remarkable how inefficient you can become.
And when you've got guys around you who are buying into your vision and pushing towards the same thing, it's energizing.
So I think maybe you should start the conversation, because I know you've been chewing on this a bunch, and I think specifically this, I'd like to hear your thoughts on how the commercial First Nations part of Gott Energy may or may not fit in with this merger idea, how that would impact the structure.
So after our Forge call yesterday, I called Kenton, and weirdly enough, he had cell coverage the entire way between Quesnel and Prince George, and we had really long conversation, and I just expressed this to him too. But the dream of what we're trying to create with the platform company and our goal for 2026 with me and my team right now is to build our systems to be scalable by the end of the year. Ideally now. Like even right now, where we're sitting right now, where we feel like we could grab a right market with 2 key hires.
Right.
And that all comes through the efficiencies that we're building within our team. So for us as a team, even with Chris coming on board and the idea of you coming on board and how we're going to, like what we're trying to accomplish just with the scalability and the platform company is going to take incredible focus. Like we're going to have to be super intentional. We're going to have to, it's a very, very ambitious goal. But the problem with the First Nation commercial side of the big solar project you guys have is that's also a very ambitious, time consuming. And the problem with the two is they're so different. The systems don't align they don't overlap nicely. And I'm not saying it can't be done. And when I talked it through at great length with Kenton, like the only way I can see it really, really working well is if we combine our teams, create the efficiencies, really get your team on board with kind of what we're already streamlining, which we do have to talk about our pipeline and our SOPs in our office, because currently they're clashing with your guys' SOPs, and I know you got a system coming into place, but we do need to talk about if that's actually going to merge with what we're doing with our CRM too. But overall, I'm just really concerned about, like, I believe in the platform company. I believe in something scalable. I believe like we could take this thing, like we could scale it radically, like become a $50 million company in 5 years, like and that's without the merger. I think Ridgeline alone can do that. And Chris and I were dreaming about that the other night. And that's what we think is truly feasible to do. But I don't know if we can do it with another really. And the problem with it is it's a really great opportunity. Like it's a huge opportunity, and it's like, it's right there, but it would be distracting. So I have my thoughts on how we could attempt to do both, but ultimately going into it, like where my focus is, and I feel like the driving focus of the executive team would be on building the platform, making it scalable, and then executing that. And then the commercial, industrial solar projects that you guys are developing, I'm just wondering if there's a few key hires that we could put in place to still facilitate that and see it go, or just what does that look like from your perspective?
Yeah. And this is good because I actually don't know what I think right now, but I'm a verbal processor, so I'm happy to just kind of talk it out. Okay, so just first thoughts. I'm really excited about where that side of the business could go. Mm-hmm. And so I think, yeah, there may not be alignment between the two ventures. Like, they might be separate things that need separate attention, and maybe not under the same umbrella. Both have the potential to go to the kind of scale that you're talking about. Okay, so what I'm trying to imagine is, let's say it's not a fit. And I totally get your reasons why you think that it might not be. Let's say it's not a fit. Then what do we do? Because it really, this is mostly a me thing. Because
that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, you and Chris can run with the roofing and solar piece and build that, and I want to be a part of that, like we've been talking. But if this other piece doesn't come under that same umbrella, then that leaves me holding that piece still. And then what is that? How do I manage that? Like, do I have two roles? Do I put 20% of my time into the roofing and solar piece and 80% of my time into the Gott energy piece, or 40-60, or whatever the split is? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, we would have to, and that would all depend on hires, because you would oversee it, go do the very relational, be the face of it and everything. But I would argue you got to get out of any of the legwork, computer work, proposals.
Oh, yeah, which has to happen. Writing. Has to happen anyway.
Yeah,
and so maybe, actually, like I could see that really working, because I think, like we're gonna have a conversation about later, is this unique ability thing. My unique ability it's not a necessity, but I'll say requires me actually to move out of a lot of the stuff that I'm doing right now anyway.
Agreed.
No matter what the future holds in terms of relationship between the two companies. And so where I want to go, where I need to go with Gott Energy as it exists now, is to a place where I would be in that kind of a role, where it's more of that strategic oversight, building the people, strategic relationships, those kinds of things. And then that is, especially for the size of company that we are right now, that is not a full-time thing. So the possibility of doing that and something else as also not a full-time thing could legitimately work.
Do you feel like that would be a full-time thing if the two companies were merged?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, it's hard to imagine, like, what does a day look like? What does a week look like with what we're imagining? How many hours of which days go into what activities? Like, because there's a bit of a spread of responsibilities. Like, we're talking about, like, let's call my title in the new thing CPO, like Chris was saying, chief people officer,
which I think is a good fit for the record.
I love that. If that's the case, so I'm doing the CPO stuff. Mm-hmm. If that's my role in this platform company, this parent company, whatever we want to call it, then whether I'm investing into Ridgeline Roofing and Solar or Gott Energy, I'm essentially functioning out of that role.
Yeah.
If not everything comes into that umbrella, if we split Gott Energy into two and part of it goes in there and part of it stays out, then I think I'm in two roles. It wouldn't be one role anymore. So time-wise, would it take more time, less time? I don't know.
Yeah. Let's go. You said something a little. Do you think the commercial industrial side of things, the solar opportunities, is something that, do you think it could scale to the same level as what? And do you think your team is capable of scaling it? Are you guys ready for that?
Yeah, like our intention is a similar trajectory of growth. Like I think the opportunity is huge, and anything's possible. But the stuff that we're working on right now, if it goes the way that we think it could go and the way that we're hoping it will go, then yeah, like we'll 10x in the next 3 years.
Okay.
But
so yeah, that brings some clarity to me, because I didn't know exactly how scalable it was. Yeah.
I can talk through some of the details of how and whatever later, but a lot of growth potential. And so it's one of those things. Like, I think if with what we're talking about with the platform company, let's just say everything came under it. Still, I think I need to replace myself.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a matter of how, like, is that like fully replacing myself with a new CEO, that whatever you call them?
I don't think so. I think we lock in our, like, basically what we've already started the ball on rolling. I think we lock in our teams. We find the efficiencies. We first focus on generating revenue, and then we build SOPs. We reverse engineer your plan for that division, and we execute it, and we just oversee it. We hire the people to fill those roles.
Yeah, I think there would be some real opportunity there. And I do get what you're saying about the value of focusing. Like, when I think about the kinds of processes that we're looking at for developing the commercial, industrial, First Nations side of Gott Energy right now, they are really different processes and really different customers, really different marketing.
If Heidi had like a high caliber assistant, could she spearhead that and run with it?
Yeah, I think, like, of our existing team, there's no question that she would be the one that I would hand the reins to. She absolutely would need an assistant. I think she needs an assistant anyway, no matter what. And I think if she had an assistant, man, she could just kick butt. Because
I think having our overall executive team oversee someone who's taking that and spearheading it, and we're giving them support, I don't think it would be a CEO. I think we'll still have that level of accountability and vision and everything, especially with you being on the executive team. I think it's more like bringing on admin and building a team around Heidi. And that might even just be one person to replace you up front, and then allow you, but that wouldn't be your day job. You'd probably have more, or we would have regular weekly strategic check-ins and be checking the numbers and everything. But I really think having our focus be primarily, I mean, your role, I genuinely see you just being focusing on people, and not even, I don't think you'd be the one making sure they're hitting numbers either. I think that'll be Chris, to be honest with you.
I think that fits him much more than it fits me.
And me.
Yeah.
And when I met with Chris on Monday night in Vancouver, he was like, I was telling him about everything that was going on, our AI stack, my conversation with Tim on the podcast, and he's like, why do you even need me? I was just like, what do you mean, why don't, like, 2 is better than 1? I know, like, it's like yeah. You can't tell me, like, can I do this on my own? Yes. Will I do this on my own? Absolutely. Is it likely going to actually 10x if I got you right beside me doing it? 100%. And we went through a few of the reasons why. And one of the biggest reasons why is I try and hold people accountable. I have no issue with conflict and stuff, but I come across as a tyrant. And I haven't sharpened that ability in my leadership yet to be able to hold people accountable without causing offense or whatever. Whereas that's something Chris is just so gifted in. He's just like super supportive. Hey, how's it going? Did you hear numbers? Oh, why not? And
his ability to do that is just so beyond my own.
Yeah, it's a big deal in what we're trying to do.
Even to remember to circle back to stuff and go, hey, how did that go? Man, he's like just 5 times better at that than I am.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm on to the next thing. And he's like, he's a dreamer too, but he actually keeps track of what happened last time. I'm like, what? We talked about that?
It's so true. So I don't know. When it comes to that division, like I'm not opposed to it. And if the scale you figure matches what we're looking at doing with the platform and the residential and...
Like, I really think that it would probably need to be run as a totally separate company. Mm-hmm. And so...
Totally separate division.
Like, I imagine it like you got the platform company and then you've got Ridgeline and Gott residential under that platform company. And then as like a part of the platform. Whereas I imagine the Gott Energy... I don't even know exactly what the relationship would be between those two, because it's really different. Like what you're building with the platform company,
it's so different.
It's really different, and it doesn't have a lot of application to the Gott Energy side, and so and to try and use the platform company to really resource the Gott Energy side, I think actually probably would dilute and distract from what you're trying to do platform wise. And so it's almost like the Gott Energy would be owned by the platform company maybe, but almost be like a peer to it, where they're each doing their own thing. Yeah. Rather than it being like relationally underneath, where it's drawing its resources from the platform or something. I don't
that's the thing. If it's drawing any attention or resources from the platform, it needs, from the parent company or the new co, it needs to be owned by it. Otherwise, it's just, we're going to be constantly fighting over.
For sure.
No, you can't take those people. Why are you doing that? You should. This is like,
and so that is a major piece, because the way that our commercial First Nation side of Gott Energy is structured right now, it doesn't have really an installation force. It relies on our residential team to do installations. Mm-hmm. And so if we split them out, there's 2 options. Either they stay relationally connected, where the residential team is the installation force for the commercial First Nations projects, or the commercial First Nations side has to build a new installation team. But there are people on both sides that bring a ton of value to the other. Like we've got a guy on our commercial First Nation side who brings a ton of value, like critical. He's a critical component to our residential side. If we had to split the 2, he would stay with the commercial First Nation side. Yeah. But you would really need to replace him on the residential side. Like he would leave a hole there. Yeah. So it's not that you can't fill those things. Like he could be replaced on the residential side. Yeah. He's not irreplaceable. But it would be a big loss for sure. So there definitely is a tying together of those 2. It's not that they're inseparable.
It really depends on that role specifically, but like if you take that individual, is that individual's role going to have the time an ability to focus on both, or with where we're taking one, like if we're looking at scaling both of these, very likely we're going to have to hire so that we can have a focus on each anyways, aren't we? Or is it just such a specialized thing that you think you could share that focus between the two, even as we're scaling?
Like, are you talking about this specific guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he would be a natural person to share back and forth.
Yeah.
Like he has specialized ability with batteries and the really technical stuff and programming and those kinds of things that neither side, especially at this stage, would reasonably support a guy like that full time. Like he can do other stuff too, but where his unique ability is, I think, works really well with supporting both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And financially, I think it would be a big win to share him back and forth rather than each company trying to have their own version of him.
Yeah. Is this a guy we'll want like R&D department?
Oh yeah.
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 Because honestly, even in the residential side, as like one of the first things I think we'll want to focus on as we're scaling is where the market's going. And the market is going to go, like, rack and panels are awesome. They'll always have their place. But the amount of people we have asking us, like, oh, what shingles, what solar shingles do we have? And they're not there yet. But man, if we had an R&D, like, and this is something I could see a couple of your current, even one of your other owners being pretty keen on, and going down to some of these manufacturers and digging into it. And like, if anyone's going to really be the front runner on shingles that are generating energy, it should be us.
Absolutely.
Like a full-fledged electrical company and roofing company.
Yeah.
Like, so we need our own R&D department.
So
eventually.
Okay. So circling back to the initial thing, we've got this idea of either all of Gott Energy coming under this platform company, or whether it just moves over as is, or whether it splits into two, it's functionally going to be two. Whether we actually make it two separate companies or not. There's the Gott Energy residential side, and there's the Gott Energy industrial First Nations side. And they already operate like at least two different departments. They're very different from each other, very different processes, very different types of customers, marketing, etc. So we've got, if all of that goes over, that's one scenario. Or we split it into two and only the residential goes over. Are those basically the two scenarios that
I think it has to be one or the other. Or it goes under, but some ownership stays in the industrial or commercial industrial side of things, or like there might be some, because I feel like to you guys, I think the problem I'm having with this is you guys see huge, and I get it because it's your vision and you see the scalability and the potential and the opportunity, and you guys have been working towards this. And there's huge value in it to you and your owners. Yeah. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm excited for you guys. And in many ways, I would love to be a part of it and support it in any way we can. But at the same time, Ridgeline has its own opportunities and needs hyper focus on building our team and fine tuning. And they're so different. Yeah. So it's like, maybe in a world, and maybe this is something we could talk to the guys about, but maybe in a world like the parent co could own a percentage of it, but maybe some of your partners move their ownership into that portion or something. Like, I don't know. But I agree with you. I think if we are going to bring that over, my biggest concern is your attention, like, because I see the immense value you bring to that. Yeah. But I would argue a lot of the work you're doing for it could be delegated or hired out.
Not just could be, should be.
I agree.
And so that's, it's kind of just a thought experiment for me. It's like, what could that look like? Mm-hmm. Because it comes down to what, in that scenario, what are the needs of both companies? How much would that require? Like functionally, how much attention is needed? And if we did a split or something, I guess whether the First Nations commercial side comes under the platform company or not, I think either way, I'm going to have some attention split between the two. Unless I fully replace myself. And actually, this is a good question for you. Like, let's assume you're the CEO of the new platform company. Gott Energy fully, 100% of Gott Energy comes under that platform company. Now we've got roofing and solar, and we have the commercial First Nations piece. Functionally, who's the CEO of the commercial First Nations piece? Like, would I stay in the driver's seat of that, or would I move fully into the CPO position and you take over the strategic leadership direction of the...
It wouldn't be me specifically, but I would ultimately hold the responsibility for it.
Right.
But it would go under the executive team. So to be totally honest with you, Chris would be the one driving it as the integrator, operator.
Right.
And then with my help, support, and strategic planning between the three of us. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, what I would want to see if we move all of Gott into the new co, I would want you only involved in that in the ways that is just absolutely in your unique ability. Just, speaking at conferences, high level meetings, training, recruiting. I was listening to, on my flight home today, I forget his name. He's the founder of LinkedIn.
Okay.
And he was on a podcast, and he was like, if you're in your like earlier founding days and you aren't spending a third of your time recruiting, he goes, you're dysfunctional. You're not meeting what you could be. And I was like, oh man, like a third of my time. Like, I'm not early in my founding days, but like with how we're not scaled at all yet. And the reason I genuinely think we aren't is because we don't have that person within the company who's just constantly seeking talent and sewing into people full time. And that's what I would want from you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what, and like, I'll just say it. And this is something I talked to Kent and Chris, and I was very forward about. I'm like, I love Gott Energy. I love the team. But I could very easily go find another solar company to jump on board with what we're doing here. And with Chris coming on, like, I don't even need another company now. It could just be a couple key hires. The main reason I want this to happen with Gott is I do love your team. Like, even though we've been kind of butting heads a little bit with your team, trying to figure out how to
do the processes.
Merge our systems. Well, not merge them yet, but even working together. I see the heart of your team, and it excites me. I think you and that's because you have attracted those people. And I just see a world where if your full-time gig, or at least one of your top 3 things that operates in your unique ability window, one of those 3 bars I see for you is just full-time building of team, recruiting, finding people, finding high value network and relationships, and personal development with them, a culture driver. Like, that's what I would see for you.
So structurally, then it would be something like, bring the companies together. I step out of the CEO role of Gott Energy. I step into the CPO role of the platform company. Somebody else takes head, don't call it CEO, but takes head of the Gott Energy First Nations commercial.
They'd be the VP, like
VP. And they would function primarily under Chris as COO of the platform company. And then I would be investing strategically into that still, but not in a role where I have the leadership steering responsibility for it. It would be more developmental strategic investment.
Yeah. That's pretty much exactly what I see it looking like.
Which I feel like aligns really well with my unique ability. When I say that out loud, I'm like, yep. And
I do think like the flip side of it too is to have Chris and I also helping drive that side of things. Like, again, it won't be our primary focus.
Yeah.
But like helping like build the team, drive relationships and opportunity, culture, all of that. I think, because it would be me, you, and Chris basically doing what you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if all three of us do a good job here and actually do what we're saying we're going to do, and we're all actually operating within our unique abilities, then that company would drastically benefit from this.
Right.
As would Ridgeline and the new co as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's ultimately the dream. But it's a big move, and to fill your shoes on a lot of the day-to-day admin work you're doing, we'd have to be very strategic about it. But I think if we actually put our heads down, and actually the original topic I had with you about meeting is like, we need to meet and figure out how to drive revenue, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now for both of our teams. Let's start. And one of the biggest things I was going to talk to you is like, we're going all in. Again, I got this book, Unrecruitable, because I signed up for their recruitment AI software, and it is something I really think, whether we merge or not, this is something that you should get into, because it does a lot of the admin legwork for you.
Right.
It pre-vets and scores applicants, and they can even send in a video interview.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways, that's what.
Yeah,
that's how I could see that working. And honestly, if it's not going to look something like that, then I for this to work the way I really see it working, I don't see another formula other than that. And somebody would have to really convince me before we committed to actually moving forward with a full integration, because I see that working.
So by full integration, you mean what exactly?
If all your commercial, residential,
everything,
First Nations, industrial, if it all comes over, like basically the two departments you have of Gott, if they're both going to come over, I would not want that to change the fact that, in fact, it might actually be easier for, like, my dream and my goal for you is to, and for all of us, is to push us into that unique ability.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a non-negotiable.
And that's my thought, is that if we split Gott Energy into two, residential to go over under the platform company, and commercial First Nations to stay as a separate thing.
Yeah.
Then the hesitation that I feel about that is, then I go, okay, then my attention is for sure split, because
they can't hire it out.
Well, they could, but hiring a CEO is not an easy move.
That's fair. I guess it would need the leadership still.
And so, like, if we could find somebody, like if we could identify an amazing candidate to take over that CEO role, then absolutely somebody else could steer that ship and run with it. And I could step out and go fully into the platform company.
Is there anybody else on your current ownership team who could take that leadership role and would want to?
I don't think so. No. So at least in the short term, like unless a CEO candidate was something that we could discover in the very immediate future, then at least in the short term, I would be left at least in that high level oversight role of the commercial First Nations, plus trying to do CPO in the new platform company. And I would work hard to replace myself on that side to minimize the obligations and responsibilities that I have there that don't fit my unique ability. But there would definitely be some element of split. I could not just step out of that and trust it to keep running and jump into the platform company. There would be some kind of a transitionary period where we would have to do some hiring and training and make some real changes.
Okay. I think that makes sense. I think we have some clarity on that. Does it is that resonate with you? Does that excite you, the idea of making that move?
So I honestly, if it was just up to me, I'm dreaming I could do anything I want. I would take that CPO role in the platform company, and I would stay in, well, if the two stayed separate, like if the residential came under the platform company and the commercial First Nation side stayed out, I would like to stay in the high level strategic oversight piece of Gott Energy and do the CPO thing in the platform company and somehow do both. If it all came under one, then I think being in the CPO role would allow me to do that in that whole spread of companies, and that would tick all the boxes for me.
Yeah. So in your ideal world, it comes over, but you still go into the CPO role and you get to be a part of it, but just in your unique ability. And
I'm still processing.
Yeah.
But at this sliver of time, when I look at it, to me, that looks like the sweet spot.
The way to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, question for you. If overall leadership moved from you to the executive team, you stayed involved just as your CPO role, like just checking in and developing and training, recruiting, whatever it looks like, how many people would we need to hire to
replace me on the...
Yeah. Well, and also, is it just you who needs to be replaced? Or are we also moving anyone else over from there to the residential side? Or are there residential people who are currently... Because that's another layer of it's I want people either just working on that or just working on this, except for the couple unique roles, like you said, where there's very specialized, even your role. I think for the type of role that we'd want to build you around, that type of role could handle a very, very large umbrella.
Yeah, and so this is an interesting one where I'd be curious to know how much overlap there is. We created this divide in our conversations early on with a residential versus commercial First Nations split. Because Ridgeline is primarily in the residential space. And that was a natural dividing line. But process-wise, most of the processes for residential are the same in commercial. And so thinking about Salesforce, the training that's required for making the sales, doing the quoting, estimating, all that kind of stuff, it's basically the same. And so in some ways it doesn't make sense to split those, because same skill set, same processes, same tools, same whatever. It's really, when you get into the First Nation space or big industrial projects where the processes really change and the technology changes and a bunch of different things. But
Yeah.
commercial and residential actually are pretty
Is your team
pretty
both
tight.
currently doing commercial and residential the same?
Mm-hmm.
So how many of your team are just focused on the First Nations, and how many of them are focused on?
Really, it's
Both.
Heidi and I doing First Nations, and then we'll bring in Devin, for example,
Yeah.
on occasion
As a specialist for certain things.
for mapping out some of the real technical stuff. But it's basically the two of us that are really doing First Nations.
That feels like it'd be pretty easy to build a team around quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, if, because I think no matter what, like one of my primary focuses on scaling just Ridgeline is multiply talent.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you multiply talent, that's what's going to increase your revenue. So, no matter what side comes, like even on the, even if you do keep the First Nation stuff separate, we're still going to have to focus on training up the install team to be able to supplement that. Because if you land a massive project somewhere, we can't just be like, oh, I guess we're not doing solar or residential installs for the next 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
There'd have to be a pretty heavy strategic plan around that. But it does really show, like, I don't know how busy you guys are with leads and booked out work, but we are like drowning right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I could use 2 more crews.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it sounds like you guys are similar. Like me landing that strata on Vancouver Island is exciting, but it's just like, oh man, that's just that much more work we get to do, not have to do. We get to do it, but it's like, okay, wow, like here we go.
Yeah.
So I think priority 1 would be there's going to be a few priority ones. But one of them would be like training and increasing skilled talent to do installs.
Yeah.
So we could handle both.
Yeah. And just thinking about, like, even if we said, you know what, it doesn't make sense for all this to try and go together, to all come across, go into the platform company. And Kenton was pushing back on this before too. The idea of sticking to only residential, I think, is a hard one on the solar side. Like, maybe in roofing that there's more of a nice split there, but it wouldn't make sense to me on the solar side to say we do residential only and we don't do commercial.
Yeah.
And so I think if we were going to split stuff, I wouldn't split residential versus commercial First Nations. I would split residential commercial versus First Nations industrial.
Okay. I think we talked about that at one point.
I think the commercial should go with the residential. Okay. Like, I think if, it's like, it's a tidy split to say residential versus everything else.
Yeah.
Because it's an easier
housing is what
easier line to draw.
Yeah.
But yeah, I almost feel like you need to do like a have you ever heard of this? You do a pros and cons list and then you do it backwards. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, so pros of fully merging, cons of fully merging. Pros of not fully merging, cons of not fully merging.
Yeah.
And because I feel like, man, we're swimming around in all these things and I'm like, oh man, I see so many benefits to doing a full merger. But I see drawbacks too.
But my big question is, are the drawbacks hireable? Like, can we
really
build a team around that? Like, can we delegate a lot of this stuff to free you up so that we can hyper focus on building the team in general?
Yeah, really, if I boil it all down, I think my only real concern with fully merging is that we'll end up unclear about primary objectives, because we'll have essentially two companies that are growing in different directions.
Yes.
And so there's going to be decisions that have to be made about resourcing, financial, people, whatever. And what gets priority, what gets first attention.
That's the challenge. That's the benefit of having an executive team, though, is because that comes right up and we hash that out weekly. It's just like, there's needs here. How do we fill them?
Yeah.
Like, I actually welcome that side of it. And I think between me, you, and Chris, and with Kenton and Brian's input, I don't. And again, if our first priority now is increasing revenue, finding efficiency, finding savings while simultaneously bringing up our revenue so we can finance both, that needs to be number one. Like, it just needs to be right at the forefront.
Maybe I'm overblowing the risk of those two things being in competition with each other. I love the idea of, I love simplicity. And so I love, singular focus.
I agree.
Going nationwide, platform company, boom.
Let's go.
Simple. Mm-hmm. Adding the First Nations commercial stuff to the mix feels like it complicates. But separating it out feels like it adds a whole bunch of complication too.
Yeah.
And I think having it in the mix has the potential to bring in a ton more resources, like not just revenue, though I think there's probably lots of revenue there. Buying power, there's the additional team crossover. There's additional some stability. Like, I think having some more of that diversity in the market, where it's like, if the residential sector is really sucking for a season, there might be a ton of opportunity still with First Nations or industrial projects or government projects. Mm-hmm. And so there is strength in that diversity.
And that's a good argument for the merger in general. One of our trades has a down year. Like, last year was a super down year for roofing. We still somehow pulled, but man, it was a grind. Mm-hmm. And like, if we had a diverse industry that we could just shift more resources and focus into, that would have been ideal.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think we're pretty on the same page about all that. I think, again, we'll continue that conversation with our teams, unless you had any other final thoughts in that.
No, I think that this is good for me, because being a verbal processor, I just like saying things out loud.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like this has increased my clarity, even though I feel like we haven't landed on a final decision or something. This was a necessary step in the process. And
those are all my points. Do you have any big thoughts or questions in regards to the merger that's red flagging you, that's more generic and not individually focused?
No.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, on to the next one.
Sounds good.
Okay.